Electronic Farts teams up with the Adult Diaper League to enforce social justice in gaming. These organizations take ordinary online behavior, say it's endemic examples of the far right, and then advocate that they must gain control of video games to stop it. Yeah, that is what hate groups like the Adult Diaper League and the Southern Poverty Lie Center do. They force themselves into everything and destroy it. Anyone that works in any way with those hate groups, just write them off as a loss. There is no hope. There's no hope whatsoever for them. Yeah, the games industry is being pushed by Germany and Electronic Farts in a direction that, if successful, would mean the mass deplatforming of right-wingers and free speech in gaming. The Adult Diaper League and big names in Silicon Valley have already signed on to similar projects in the US, all of which, if successful, will mean the inevitable control of gaming by the woke. And this is why I advocate for just letting this industry burn and building a completely new one from the ashes of the dumpster fire. Completely separate, completely independent. Separate yourself from this old industry and make everything from scratch. Because there is nothing worth saving in this industry anymore. Eventually, if we can create a viable enough alternative on our own, then the most talented people will find their way to us because they would rather work with us than for some fucking corporate like focus group. Because all these woke games are designed by committee. What actual self-respecting artist and creative wants that shit? Now, as long as they're only going after these big AAA companies, it's not that bad, because at least not for me, because I've already written them all off as a loss. I'm not looking forward to any AAA games in the future. Like, not a single one has my attention, so it's fine for me. But what I'm worried about is what happens when they infect the storefronts. What happens when Valve partners with the Adult Diaper League and the Southern Poverty Lie Center? What happens then? Because almost everyone is going to be banned from posting on the Steam forums practically overnight. Maybe 90% of their catalog is going to be gone. It's going to be insane. The only thing you'll have is woke garbage on Steam. Although in that case, that's just going to be these morons making the same mistake they always do. They always assume that it's like, oh, everyone is here there, so if we take this over, we'll have everyone's attention. They made that mistake with Star Wars. Oh, everyone loves Star Wars. If we can co-opt Star Wars, we can push our agenda to all these fans. No, the fans left. And the same thing's going to happen with Steam. And they're not going to make a scene out of it. Like, your boy Zach did a great video recently where he pointed out that one of the reasons that a lot of these declines, I mean, it's less a crash and more a gradual death spiral, which is what the comic industry is in. And that's because when previous fans leave, they very rarely do what people like I do. They very rarely make a scene about it. I make a scene about it when I leave, because I want the company to know why I left. Because I still hold out that faint hope that if companies are actually smart enough to know that they fucked up, they can maybe correct their mistakes. I mean, it's never happened yet, but it might. I mean, yeah, whatever, sue me. It might happen. But most people, when they leave a hobby, they don't even announce it. They, like Zach said with comics, they go from from going to the comic book shop every week to every 2 weeks to maybe once a month to every 3 months to every 6 months. And eventually they just notice, I don't read comics anymore. Huh. Yeah, I guess I don't care. That's what happens. And that's what's going to happen in gaming. If the Adult Diaper League gets their claws into Steam, then they're going to completely destroy it. And eventually, like, Steam is just going to bleed users, and they're not going to know why. Because most of these people who are leaving, they're not going to say anything. They're just going to keep logging into Steam to finish their back catalog. And then one day they're going to realize there's nothing new I want to buy, and then they're going to do something else. And you're never even going to hear why they left. So we need to be ready with our alternatives for when that happened, because it's not like these people don't want to play good games. They just don't have access to any good games. That's what Comicsgate is for comics. It's not that comics are dead. It's that this specific brand of woke Western comics is dead. Because manga is booming right now. European comics are booming right now. But woke American comics, they can't. I mean, they're being dominated by manga in their home turf because they outright refuse to give customers what they want. So you know what? Fuck them. Let them die and we'll replace them. More customers for us. Now, anyway, that tangent aside, that's almost like a rant on its own. Let's get back to the article. It starts with Deutschland. Martin Lorber, Electronic Farts Public Relations Director for German-speaking countries, announced in April a dual project between itself, the German government, and two new organizations, Good Gaming, Well-Played Democracy, and Keinen Pixel der Faschisten, or No Pixels for Fascists. Oh yeah, I think I covered that like months ago when that happened. Ooh. Their stated goal is to make sure gamers do not become radicalized into neo-Nazis, where a neo-Nazi is literally everyone who isn't radicalized into their far-left agenda. However, even the smallest bit of digging reveals that this project is, in truth, nothing more than a full-throated attempt to force the games industry and social media platforms to bow down before social justice. And this is why I say abandon them. Leave them all, let them burn, and make an alternative. And when these same organizations come to you, you show them the door. It's like, nope, you're not welcome here. Go away. We want nothing to do with you. The two organizations joining this collaboration contain some of the most radical activists for social justice inside of Deutschland. The organization behind Good Gaming are the Amado Antonio Foundation, a left-wing activist group headed by former frequent Stasi informant Annette Cahen. Cahen's foundation got in trouble last year when a brochure sent to German schools suggested you could recognize a girl's family as far-right if a girl wears dresses and does chores. This is how insane these people are. Good Gaming writes its job is to analyze how right-wing alternative actors are increasingly trying to foment a misanthropic atmosphere on gaming platforms. They have a problem with right-wingers enjoying space on Steam, for example. Social media posts show their plan is a propaganda war and that they want to indoctrinate young people to recognize hate online and push back against right-wing ideas. And there's this post from Lunar Archivist who posted all of that. So, yeah, we if you're interested, you can check this out. They do this is their public platform basically. They're admitting flat out what they want to do. They are telling us what they're going to do. This is another one of those situations where if you think this is a good idea, and then a few years later, you're crying that everything is a burning dumpster fire and you're wondering how it could have happened. It's because you're a fucking idiot. That's how. Because they outright told you to your face what they're going to do, and you just refuse to listen. So then when they do every last thing they told you to your face they were going to do, you need to shut the fuck up. Because you let them do it. It's all your fault. So as bad as that is, her big sister is far worse. No Pixels for Fascists is a far left pro-fascist organization that calls itself anti-fascist, made up of websites, media figures, news organizations, research groups, and game studios. That's the big one, game studios. If you see any game studios participating in this organization, never give them money again. Their stated goals include indoctrinating organizations and people about how gamers get radicalized into becoming far-right. Once again, what they mean by far-right is anyone who is not indoctrinated into their far-left ideology, and how the right-wing use internet spaces. According to their documents, this includes teaching organizations and individuals how to identify right-wing mindsets alone by looking at online social media profiles. Well, I guess that's kind of like how we say, if you look at a Twitter profile and there's pronouns in the bio, you know that's someone you could probably ignore. Like, yeah, this person probably doesn't have any opinions worth listening to. So maybe it's like that, except the difference is, when I identify people like that on social media, I do it so I know who I don't want to interact with. They do it so they know who they can destroy and cancel. These guys are the new Nazis. Like, we went over Yelp previously. Like, they're handing out Jew badges to companies now. They are the literal Nazis of current year. And when we have a new fascist regime rise in the West, all of these useful idiots who wear their brown shirts are going to be asking how this happened. Like, this isn't what I signed up for. How did this happen? And then they're going to be disposed of, because the people who are pulling their strings, they're already planning to dispose the useful idiots as soon as their usefulness runs out. So that's going to be the one silver lining if their side wins, is keep yourself alive, and you get to see all the people who tried to destroy you. You get to see them get marched to the camps, and you can point and laugh. No Pixel's co-founders are Pascal Wagner, a left-wing German journalist, and Aurelia Brandenburg, a lefty historian/blogger, aka a journalist. Their organization harbors a deep hatred for gamers and is a proponent of the game's right-wing radicalization myth. Now, I'm a lot less mad at this than I would have been a few years ago, but that's just because I cannot state enough the attitude shift that going from a consumer to a creator does to someone. Previously, when I was just a consumer, I was infuriated by shit like this, because what I saw is all the things I loved slowly being destroyed, and I was running out of hobbies to support because they were all being infected and destroyed. And then I finally did what they've been telling me to and said, oh, you don't like it, make your own. So I made my own, and now I see things differently. Now, when I see this shit, I'm just like, yeah, let these idiots fall for this propaganda and destroy themselves, and I will position myself to take all of the customers they're chasing away. Yeah, go right ahead. Believe all this bullshit. Tank your business. I don't give a shit anymore. Even if you did used to make things I like, I will make a spiritual successor myself and carry on the legacy. I will be there to take all the customers you're driving away. Now, according to Brandenburg, gamers are actively anti-diversity and right-wing. They're full of toxic nerd masculinity in their treehouse as they actively fight to make sure nobody except cis white males can play video games. If gamers actually did this, we would not be having the problems we're having right now. I wish gamers did this. I wish they actively gate-kept bad actors out of the hobby. It's like, oh, you don't actually like the hobby and you want to change it to suit you? Well, fuck you. You can go and make your own. You're not welcome here. This isn't for you. We will not allow you to destroy our anime titties. If you have a problem with anime titties, you are not welcome in any of these fan service communities. Get fucked. Go do something else. I wish gamers had the balls for this. But here's the sad truth. Most of these gamers are simp-ass cucks. They might talk a big game sometimes, but as soon as a woman gives them any attention, they cave instantly. They sell out their own people because a woman promised to touch their pee-pee. It's like, oh yeah, I know she's a radical feminist, but she's totally cool, guys. I mean, she gave me attention. She can't be that bad. So that right now is the biggest problem we face. So this regressive bias is irrelevant because it shows a hollowness to the scientific basis of this project and the naked ambitions of the organizations driving it. No Pixels advocates that scientific research gets used exclusively to prove how evil and problematic gamers and game spaces are. Once again, what have I been saying all this time? Gamers and their spaces were never evil, problematic, toxic until these evil, problematic, toxic people moved in. We need to kick these fuckers out. Even so far, that objective scientific work must always take a backseat to fulfill their ideological and political needs. That's how the entire regressive movement operates. That premise is entirely flawed. Gamers are not, in fact, toxic or overwhelmingly right-wing, as proven repeatedly by Psychology Today writer Chris Ferguson. Ferguson is a leading authority who has published several studies on these issues. His most recent work on games radicalization theory proves there isn't any radicalization of any kind. Gamergate, the group usually demonized as the pinnacle of evil, are not conservative but center-left. Well, if we can flip this to prove that the left are evil, that's fine. And far from being an outlier, Ferguson's research is backed up and not much debated by scientists. So why is Silicon Valley and Germany doing this project? Because they want to push their political agenda. Duh. No Pixels makes it very clear in several blog posts and articles that they consider not just the far right as problematic, but the entire right wing. That most traditional gamers are so hopelessly bigoted that even allowing gamers any space on any platform would mean the degradation and harm to women and people of color. This is how I see them. If you allow a regressive on your platform, it will degrade and cause harm to everything. With only a cursory amount of reading of their blog, you quickly realize this push has very little to do with actual bigotry and everything to do with pushing mass deplatforming and giving activists power and control. And this is why, from the very beginning, as we're making our own, we are structuring it to be as openly hostile and unforgiving to them as possible. We will not allow them in the new space. They chased us out of our previous space, and we're making our own. If we see any of these fuckers trying to get into our new space, they will be evicted with extreme prejudice. I will not allow what happened to the dying legacy industry to happen to the new one I'm building up. I can't control what other people do as they're making their own, but these fucking parasites will be openly hostile to them in anything I'm in charge of. They will know in no uncertain terms they're not welcome here. Cited gateway drugs to becoming alt-right are silly and innocuous. Evidence includes PewDiePie enjoying historical games, disliking The Sims, and noticing that women often enjoy playing mobile games like Candy Crush. Over and over, these organizations take ordinary behavior online, say it's endemic examples of the far right, and then advocate that they must gain control of video games platforms like Steam and social media spaces to stop it. See, that's the one like I ranted about earlier. That's the one I'm concerned with. If they take over Steam and then they pretty much ban everyone from the platform, they get rid of all the games that are actually worth playing, that's when we need to be ready to jump in with our alternative. This takeover of gaming doesn't stop in Germany, but is global. Last week, nonprofit org Games for Change unveiled its advisory board for raising good gamers. Yup, remember, we covered that. Yeah, the Ministry of Truth is coming to gaming. In an English mirroring of the No Pixels project, this effort, supported by the Adult Diaper League, Fakebook, Google, Microsoft, EA, Ubishit, and others, aims to create a more diverse, inclusive, and positive online environment for youth. We're diverse where they mean everyone but you, inclusive of everyone but you, and positive towards everyone but you. You're totally not being oppressed, though. Now, this push is almost an English mirror to No Pixels. It harbors the same disdain for gamers and wishes to remake gaming in its own image. To quote their white paper, gaming culture is exclusionary and discriminatory. No, the only reason we're having this problem right now, it's because it wasn't exclusionary and discriminatory. These toxic parasites should never have been allowed into our communities. We should have kicked them out years ago. I was advocating for this shit years ago. But nope, I'm just an extremist. And well, now these same people who held me back are losing everything and crying about it. So cry me a river, you little bitch. You get what you deserve. I tried to warn you. They're reproducing and encoding systems of bias and inequity that pervade society as a whole. To them, gaming and gamers must become important and potentially powerful tools for achieving broader goals of social justice. Kick them out. Or don't. I mean, do whatever you want. I'll be here to take your customers. If you care about free speech or gaming, this push by the woke should worry you. Not me, because I'm making my own. But not surprise you. In current year, when everything from sports to dating has become new battlegrounds for the intersectional left, did we think gaming would be immune? No, some of us have been here since Gamergate, and we've seen them trying to do this for over 6 years now. So we already know gaming's not immune. Yet there's hope. Gamers 6 years ago were able to fight off the takeover by the social justice left. Let us hope they can do so again. Now, unfortunately, that's not true. Gamergate, the only win Gamergate was able to get was to get some of these online urinalist mags to implement ethics policies, which they never follow anyway. That was like the only victory Gamergate had. Otherwise, going back to what I was just saying, how I was actually advocating for getting rid of some of these fuckers, most of the people in Gamergate were also cucked and held me back. So I fully agree with Jim and what happened with him in Gamergate. He had the right idea. Attack, attack, attack. Get rid of the bad actors. Clean up the industry. But nope. The alt-centrists decided that, oh, we're better than that. We don't work that way around here. And so Gamergate died having accomplished literally nothing. So if that's what these guys are asking for, another ineffectual... I mean, the only thing Gamergate is useful for now is being a boogeyman to the left that they blame for everything. Back when it was around, oh, Gamergate is dead, Gamergate is ineffectual. And now that it's been dead for years, they blame Gamergate for everything. But Gamergate was a valuable lesson for people like me. I don't care about the industry anymore. Fuck the industry, let it burn. I don't care about the cucks anymore. Fuck them, let them do what they want. I'm going to make my own completely independent of both of them. And if any of them bitch, I'm just going to mute them and kick them out. Like, all right, fuck you. I don't want you here anyway then. I'm going to do this my way. And whether it succeeds or fails, we'll see. But I intend to just give the customers what they want. That's it. And thankfully, that aligns with what I want. Because that's, in my opinion, that's how you get the best content. When you get true fans of content that isn't being made anymore, or that no one's catering to them, there's a void in the market that needs filling, and what they want aligns with what the market wants. And I firmly believe that's the case with me and everyone that's working with me at Sigfox Studios. What we want to make and what other people want, I mean, it may not apply to each and every one of you listening, but there is a huge unserved audience out there that we could be serving that also want the same things we want. And we intend to give them what they want. And if either the old industry or the wokies or the cucks that keep letting the wokies in, if they have a problem with it, I don't care. They're not welcome here. I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to stay as independent as possible. I'm definitely not going to become dependent on any of these cucks. That's for sure. Like, if I know you're one of these cucks that keep letting the Trojan horses in, I'll work with you as long as it benefits me to do so. But I will never become dependent on you, because if I do, it's only a matter of time until until the parasites take over your place, kick you out like I was telling you they would, and now they have power over me because I became dependent on you. Yeah, you got to be very careful of that if you make your own business. Never become dependent on somebody that could easily be taken over, and then whoever takes over now has leverage on you. You got to go full Rockefeller. You got to have full lateral integration. As best as you can, you have to own the entire supply and production chain. It's sad that we have to do this, but in current year, that's the only way. If the parasites have any way they can get in, they will, and they will ruin everything. Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.